Hello, my name is Arosh De Silva, and on behalf of the Samadhi Buddhist Foundation, I'd like to welcome everyone to this month's Clarity of Mind through Mindfulness session. So this month's topic will be about Mudita, which is altruistic joy, basically finding happiness and helping others. And I'd now like to invite our teacher, Venerable Chandarathana Thero, to commence today's session. Thero Saranai Bante.
Yeah, Teruvan Sarnai Arosh. Hope you can hear me. Hope you can hear me and you can see me, right?
Yes, Bante.
Yeah, fine. So actually, as Arosh mentioned, today's topic is on altruistic joy. So let's see what is altruistic joy. That is in Pali, it is called Mudita. And so as you know, there are 4 Brahma Viharas, what we call as kind of divine abidings or divine abodes, sometimes called as Brahma Vihara. You are living like a Brahma. So there are 4. I mean, these are very popular subjects. Mudita is actually the 3rd one. So starting this list is with Metta. So Metta is a very popular topic, loving kindness. And then Karuna, the compassion. And then the 3rd one is the Mudita. We can translate it as altruistic joy or appreciative joy. And the last one is the equanimity, that is the Upekha. So, I mean, the Brahma Viharas are a very broad subject and a very interesting subject because our minds are not into that side, rather it is being conditioned to something else. So we are now trying to bring it back to these Brahma Viharas. So it is basically inherent quality of the mind is fairly good, but it is being covered with various defilements and various distractions, again some conditioning, preconceived ideas. So due to various reasons, so it can't dwell in the, say, its original home. The Brahma Viharas actually help us to come back to that home, come back to that original peaceful, sublime nature of the human being. Now, the Brahma Viharas actually help someone to free their minds with the hindrances. And 5 hindrances, as you know, are the ones covering the mind, basically. And according to Visuddhimagga, why are these called Brahma Vihara? It is because they are supreme and faultless. And these states constitute the best mode of contact towards others. So now it is not merely for oneself. So as a group of people or as a community, as a country, as a nation, as a whole world. So when we are living among ourselves, so this Brahma Viharas really helps to have that cordial feeling, have that friendly atmosphere. So that is the important aspect of the Brahma Vihara. And who are endowed with this Brahma Viharas, so they can have a flawless mind like a Brahma. And again, so they are boundless. There is no limit for these things. Actually, now say, for example, when you consider your mind, be friend with someone. So probably your friendliness may be limited to that person. But if you are able to be friend with many people and many all beings to the whole universe, then your mind become boundless. So that is the idea. So it is therefore mentioned as appamana. There is no limit. So it's an immeasurable, it's a limitless kind of a situation. Now, if we come to the Mudita, so Mudita is actually, as Arosh also mentioned, it is the altruistic joy or sympathetic joy or appreciative joy. So more than the sympathetic part, it is more into the appreciative part. When someone is feeling good, when someone is doing well, when someone is progressing. So if you are able to be, if you are able to appreciate their happiness, if you are able to appreciate their success, so that is the appreciative joy, that is the Mudita. So this is quite opposite to, the jealousy. We actually can talk in the future in the coming slides. So typically what we have is jealousy, or a kind of a feeling, uncomfortable feeling when someone is progressing. So that is where our mind has limited. So we are under the cover of defilements. But here when we come to Mudita, the opposite happens. So when someone is succeeding, when someone is being successful, when he or she is progressing, so then you feel happiness. Then you feel quite appreciating that success of the other person. So therefore, you can share someone else's happiness. You can share someone else's success rather than trying to be jealous or trying to dislike that. So therefore, the envy, resentment, jealousy are the typical, say, negative feelings one has. But the opposite is the mudita. By the way, Muditha is not commonly talked today. So that is one area that we really have to enhance. So we have to talk, because of course, loving kindness is very popular and compassion is also somewhat popular. But Mudita is very rarely talked by maybe the meditation teachers or by the yogis. But it's a very interesting quality, very interesting, very positive, and it actually enhances our heart, we can say. So it's kind of an innate quality. So that's what I mentioned. Inherently, we have these very beautiful, very sublime, beautiful qualities. But unfortunately, they're being covered by various hindrances. And our cultural upbringing, or maybe our preconceived ideas, our conditioning of the mind, likes and dislikes. So all these outer sheath actually has covered very beautiful qualities we actually inherit. So in the other terms, lobha, dosa, moha, that is the greed, hatred, and delusion, are operating in the mind, and they actually do not allow these beautiful qualities to pop up. So sometimes, therefore, we have to deliberately develop these qualities in order to overcome that outer hindrances. So that's why Buddha mentioned, Pabassara midam bhikkave cittang, tanchako agantukehu pakkilesehu pakkilita. Monks, this mind is kind of luminous. It is really sublime. But unfortunately, these intruding defilements or these outside defilements are covering it up. So it's a matter of removing this outer cover or outer sheath. Then we experience these beautiful qualities. So that is the real beauty of the Dhamma, where Buddha teaches us to find our own happiness, which is available. And it is a path to happiness. Now, if one is able to appreciate and happy only at one's success, then you can very rarely be happy, because our life is subjected to ups and downs, vicissitudes of the life. So we don't know, I mean, whether every time we can't actually have every time we are being successful. Sometimes we come across various failures. We come across various downfalls. But there may be certain others at that time succeeding. So if we want to be happy only with our success, then we can rarely be happy, because maybe to some extent, but very rarely, because we can't continuously success. We can't have successes for a long time. There may be downfalls, there may be failures. But on the other hand, there are various other people. I mean, they may be our close members of the family, they may be our friends, there may be other neutral people. And one can even go to the level of our, say, enemies or the people that we don't like. Someone is succeeding. Maybe actually we can think if they are really succeeding with some, say, righteous way, then why can't we appreciate that? Why can't we be happy with that? So because we are making a kind of a very narrow self in ourselves, and that narrow self is the one we are trying to fulfill, or we are trying to consider as myself, I am. So only that person has to be happy, only that person has to be successful. So that is the narrow-minded attitude that we typically have. Now, if we are only trying to be happy with that narrow person, then it's very unlikely that we can have a very, say, happy or peaceful mind. But on the other hand, rather than limiting ourselves to that kind of a success, self-centered type of success, so if we can be happy with someone else's success, then we are exploring or expanding our happiness. So if one is able to be joyful for success and happiness even with others, it would present one with much more opportunities to feel happy. So many opportunities are there because many people are succeeding, and on that occasion we can also share with that happiness. Now when sympathetic joy is therefore cultivated, so you are exploring certain other areas or the other possibilities that you are also being happy. You don't need to wait till you are successful. You can be happy when someone else is also successful. Now, these are the typical attitudes we have: envy, resentment, and jealousy when someone is succeeding. But the opposite is the one that we need to now cultivate. And sometimes, say someone say which you don't like is fail, then sometimes you might even feel happy because you don't like that person and you sometimes have some hatred towards that person. If that person is coming to a trouble, facing with the trouble, then probably you might even feel happy. So that is a completely, going out of the situation or going completely to the opposite side. So here, if we have an attitude of Brahma Viharas, say when you have kind of a friendly attitude in yourself, when someone is say facing with the trouble, if you have some kindness, you have some compassion, and again when someone is succeeding, when someone is successful or progressing, if you also can share that happiness, then we are actually living like Brahmas, living like divine beings. So therefore, sympathetic joy or appreciative joy can be described as the perfect antidote to these negative feelings. Jealousy, resentment, envy. So these are the negative feelings which cover our minds and which limits our mind. But if we have Brahma Viharas, and today actually to the altruistic joy, then we are expanding ourselves. And if we are able to meditate, if we are able to cultivate our mind on Mudita, so that is where we are expanding this our mind, and again to touch these beautiful qualities and practically going ahead with the development of Mudita. Now Mudita, as I mentioned in the loving kindness also can develop absorption, so jhana. Then compassion also can be developed to the level of jhana. Similarly, Mudita also can be developed to the level of jhana. You can understand, I mean, these are some of the practices where you are able to develop fair amount of concentration. So the concentration can be enhanced or further cultivated to the level of an absorption. So first jhana, second jhana, and third jhana can be achieved through Mudita. So therefore, it's a very powerful meditation. So even though Mudita is not much familiar with among the practitioners, it's a very powerful and very beautiful quality. And again, it has many strengths as we can see now. And if we get into the meditation now, and there are many suttas Buddha refer Mudita, and he asks certain monks to practice Mudita and to develop Mudita meditation or the meditation on the altruistic joy. For example, when Venerable Rahula was going on Pindapata, so Buddha approached him, and Venerable Sariputta also approached him and advised him. So one advice given is recorded in the Maharahulawada Sutta. So there Buddha mentioned, Rahula, develop meditation on altruistic joy. For when you develop meditation on altruistic joy, any discontent will be abandoned. So you can see the certain, say, negative qualities are being addressed and they be eliminated when you are practicing these positive qualities. And if you have any kind of a discontent in your mind, say some amount of unsatisfactoriness, some amount of arati, that is the arati is the term used in the Pali. Arati is that something that you don't want to do anything. You are having kind of a negative feeling, don't have any energy. And there are many things to do. There are many responsibilities. There are many interesting things, but you have no energy to do. So that is called arati, that kind of a discontent you have in the mind. But if you are developing altruistic joy, appreciative joy, so Buddha mentioned, so this discontent will be dispelled. This discontent will be eliminated because you are capable of maintaining positive atmosphere in your mind. And then another sutta, Buddha talks available in the Digha Nikaya called Tevijja Sutta. And there actually he talks how to become a Brahman. What are the possibilities, what are the available paths, methods to go to the level of a Brahman. So there he mentioned, then with his heart filled with sympathetic joy, he dwells suffusing one quarter, the second quarter, the third, and the fourth. So this quality can be expanded. Now, say for example, you start with yourself and you feel some success in yourself. You can, even though right now you don't have such success, probably you can recall maybe your past success. You can recall that and have some sort of a positive attitude in yourself, and maybe you can start with that. And then say you are talking to another person or you are considering another person and you see that person is successful, he is progressing, and to him now you are sharing your appreciative joy. You are able to be happy with that person's success. So you pick or you select a person that you can really be happy and you appreciate that his success. And suppose that there's a person who is hardworking and who is still righteous and he put forth a lot of effort. As a result of that, he become quite successful, and you also feel, yes, he's really a effortful and he's really an intelligent, really a wise person, and he has now become successful. So you also have that appreciation, and you start with that way, and now slowly you feel that quality of appreciative joy. So once you understand that quality of appreciative joy, now probably you can further expand it to a group of people and to the people all around yourself and to the people around your whole village, to the whole city, to the whole country, to the whole universe. So likewise, this quality can be expanded. It can be taken to the level of boundless, what we call as Mudita Cheto Vimutti, the freedom of mind through Mudita. And on the other hand, another way of doing it is that once you are capable of having Mudita or developing Mudita, now you can develop or expand Mudita, spread Mudita in your front direction. In terms, say you are taking the north direction. All the beings available in the north direction, now you are being able to spread Mudita. All the beings available in the, say, east direction, you are able to spread metta. All the beings available in the south direction, you are able to spread metta. Sorry, the Mudita. And all the beings available in the west direction, you are able to spread Mudita. Again, all the beings available in the upper direction, you are able to spread Mudita. All the beings available in the lower direction, you are able to spread Mudita. Now you have covered all the directions, and ultimately your Mudita has completely expanded, completely spread throughout the whole directions. Now this is how mind being developed slowly to various directions to cover all the directions. So it's a kind of a systematic practice. Gradually you are doing it. And once you are doing it, so your mind cut through those boundaries. Actually, we had kind of a narrow-minded attitude, but now slowly we are penetrating that, we are expanding that, and we are reaching the level of say, freedom of mind through mudita. And any posture can be used for this. I mean, there is no any particular posture mentioned to practice mudita meditation. You can use any posture. You can start with maybe whatever the most comfortable posture, but slowly you can take it to other postures as well. And you can start with the, actually, once your mind is relaxed and a little bit of body also feeling relaxed, and then you are maybe you can even use certain phrase like, I am happy for your success, may your success grow and continue. So likewise, these are little phrases which you can use. I mean, these are not restricted. I mean, you can use your own phrases which are more closer to your heart. And this is a simple example I have given. So if you really feel success of another person, that you appreciate another person's success, so you can start with him. And you are sort of training your mind, telling that I am really happy with your success, and may your success be available for a long time or forever. So likewise, you don't have any aversion or any jealousy. Rather, you want to maintain that. You also participate in that happiness. You share their happiness. And I mean, if you can recognize a person that you really appreciate and now he is succeeding, so you can start with him. And when we are going further, now we can expand to other people as well. Say you are taking another person and you are spreading mudita, and you are even taking another group of persons and you are spreading mudita. So likewise, you are now expanding it, enhancing it, developing it. And you may even feel comfortable through the body as well. Now, it is actually a common point in any meditation. Now, suppose you are doing anapanasati meditation at the beginning, so your body does not support because you are not used to that posture. But slowly, as your mind concentrates, as your mind develops fair amount of mindfulness, and then you understand, okay, now body also is supporting, and you feel some comfortable comfort in your body, feeling at ease or feeling lighter in the body. And whatever the pains, irritations had in your body all have now disappeared. So the body also is very much like floating and very pleasant. And so likewise, this quality, mudita, is also like that. So as you are developing it, your body also become comfortable, feeling at ease, and whatever the difficulties you had in the body going to disappear. And now further, mudita can be developed in connection with some vipassana techniques. There's a beautiful sutta called Metta Sahagata Sutta. And so there Buddha mentioned all these Brahma Viharas can be developed in line with enlightenment factors, bojjhangas. So bojjhangas are the results of, we can say, very good vipassana practice. So once you develop bojjhanga, enlightenment factors, you can actually keep loving kindness closer to it. You can keep, say, compassion closer to it. You can keep mudita closer to it. You can keep, actually, upeksha is very much inherent closer to it. Now, keeping loving kindness closer to the development of, say, bojjhanga, 7 enlightenment factors, make your mind more sort of flexible, very pleasant, rather than keeping the mind dry. So similarly, if you are keeping the mudita in your mind while you are developing bojjhangas, enlightenment factors, you are able to maintain a very happy kind of a mind rather than a very dry attitude in the mind. Because sometimes if we are purely practicing vipassana, purely practicing satipatthana, there is a possibility probably you may end up with, or rather you might experience some sort of a dryness in the mind if you are not properly balancing the say enlightenment factors. But as an antidote, you can keep Mudita, altruistic joy, appreciative joy, because that makes the mind more pleasant, that makes the mind more happy. And then you are further continuing your mindfulness, further continuing your investigation, further continuing the other enlightenment factors. So you are, in a way, successful in both sides. So you are maintaining a very pleasant, very positive atmosphere in the mind. At the same time, you are developing very sublime or very important qualities called enlightenment factors. So therefore, Buddha mentioned, Mudita sahagatang sati sambojjangam bhaveti. Vivekanisitam, viraganisitam, nirodhanisitam, ussagga parinami. So these enlightenment factors have to be further developed. And now you have come to a fairly advanced stage of development of enlightenment factors, not the very beginning. Now in this advanced practicing of enlightenment factors or development of the enlightenment factors, now you are keeping Mudita as a kind of a companion, as a kind of a background setting, so that you are smoothly able to develop enlightenment factors. So therefore, in the Vipassana practice, also Mudita can be used. And further, actually, Mudita can be used as a ground. If you are able to practice, say for example, metta, loving kindness, to a very higher state, you know that you are able to reach metta ceto vimutti, the freedom of mind through loving kindness. Similarly, if you are able to develop mudita, appreciative joy for a higher extent, so you are able to expand your mind, enhance your mind, free your mind completely based on mudita. And on that setting, or if you are able to reach that level, mudita ceto vimutti, that can be used as a ground, as the base to the further development of enlightenment factors or further development of any vipassana. So therefore, Mudita Ceto Vimutti is another platform to develop vipassana. Now, what are the far and near enemies of Mudita? So that is mentioned actually, you can understand the far enemy is the resentment, envy, jealousy. So they are the far enemy. But there is a close enemy as well. So this is a very subtle point that we need to understand. So when we are appreciating someone else's joy, sometimes we might get a possessive attitude into it. So that is a near enemy that we have to be careful. Say for example, suppose your son, suppose your daughter is quite successful. Say he passed a challenging exam, a competitive exam. So at that time, say his achievement is something that you actually appreciate. Suppose he did a really good job, he did a lot of hard work. So now he is successful. Now you also feel really happy, and you feel that he did a really good job, and really, so the appreciative joy is there. But slowly, you might possess that. So you may see that, okay, this is my son, this is my daughter. So unnecessarily you are putting that connection, kind of an attachment to that success. So this is a kind of an enemy in this practice. So it's a very subtle quality you can see. I mean, so you at that level, you can be happy only with your son, only with your daughter. If someone else's son or daughter is successful, you can't be happy because you are having a very attachment, kind of a possessiveness to that person. But in the appreciative joy, it is not limited to that, only to your son or to your daughter. Anyone's son, if he did a very good job, why can't we be happy? So that is the point that we need to understand. And if we are putting any ownership to the successor, then that indicates that we are little polluting the mudita. We are actually tarnishing mudita. So and we are inviting the kind of a closer enemy of mudita. So therefore, if we are able to be happy on someone else's success, and we don't want to actually claim that he is my son or my daughter or so and so, but we are able to maintain proper balance. So that is the best way. And there are many benefits mentioned with respect to the practice of mudita. I'm just going through some of them. So it actually helps to have sympathetic joy in your daily life, or appreciative joy in your daily life. Because otherwise, if you are only happy on your happiness, then you can't have such an attitude. But if you are able to have this appreciative joy, I mean, when you are able to appreciate someone else's success, then you can have that joy in your mind for a long time. And on the other hand, you can spontaneously be happy. When you hear someone else's success, you spontaneously be happy. And then and even your small endeavors, your own happiness, your own success also can be used. Sometimes, I mean, we don't give enough marks to ourselves. So we don't give enough appreciation to ourselves. So we may put a lot of hard work, but even if we succeed, so we don't give enough appreciation. But when you are learning Mudita, so you have that skill. You can appreciate your own success as well. And similarly, negative feelings are eradicated, as we discussed. Jealousy, envy, those are able to eradicate. And self-centered nature can be eradicated because your now mind has become quite expanded. You can be happy with someone else's happiness. And deep level of concentration is possible. As we discussed, we can come to the level of the jhana even through the Mudita meditation. So deep concentrations are available. And you are able to feel more connected with people. You don't have to your own cage. You can be happy only because of your happiness, your success. So then you're narrowing down yourself. You are in a kind of a small cage. But Mudita practice helps to connect with others, to appreciate others' success. Therefore, you start to feel connected with everybody. And then kind of a safety is there. So you feel kind of safe. And happiness in this very life. And Buddha mentioned actually the 11 qualities are mentioned related to the metta practice. All those qualities are available to the Mudita practice as well. That you are able to awaken softly, and you may not see any bad dreams, and you are able to sleep well, and others start to feel welcoming you. And even the celestial beings start to protect you, non-humans start to protect you, and many say hazards may not come to you, and your face become pleasant, and your mind get quickly concentrated. And if not that you are able to practice vipassana to a higher extent, if you are able to develop mudita for a long time and to the higher levels, at the end of the death, actually you can have a unshaken mind, and after passing away, one can become a Brahman. So those are the techniques into this Mudita meditation. So now actually I like to conclude today's presentation and to this Mudita meditation. So let's have a little bit of practice into this Mudita meditation, and we'll start with the common way. So I invite you to now sit in a comfortable position. Now you can sit in a comfortable position. You can keep your eyes gently closed. Relax yourself. You can keep your head straight. Neck also straight. Shoulders in a relaxed position. Hands or arms may be resting on your lap. Upper half of the body straight. But don't keep your body rigid. So keep it very flexible. And feeling at ease. See whether you are comfortable. If there are any places say tight because of the clothes, probably you can little loosen those places, make yourself more comfortable. Now you can take a deep breath, hold it for a second, and then release. So we are now trying to be friend with ourselves. So it's a very good opportunity that we have. Therefore, have a little bit of joy to your mind. So maybe you are involved with so many activities, really busy, but now you got some time for yourself. So appreciate this opportunity that you have. Again, you can take a long breath, deep breath, keep it for a second, and then release. Now open up yourself and hear what you can actually hear from the environment. There may be birds chirping, there may be sounds of vehicles, maybe someone is talking, but we are not making our mind unhappy. Rather, our mind is fairly accepting, quite open, and again expanded. Sound can happen from any direction, so mind is receptive and capable of listening. But at the same time, we are not talking about these sounds. We are not commenting of these sounds. Rather, we listen and then let them go. So when you hear a sound, so your mind is well in the present moment. Now slowly bring your mind back to the body. Your head straight. Eyes are gently closed. Lips are touching each other. Jaws are not tightly coupled. And you may have a slight smile. And there is no any tension in the facial muscles, facial tissues. You are feeling comfortable. Your neck straight but not rigid. Shoulders in a very relaxed position. Hands are resting on your lap. And you are naturally breathing. Allow the body to breathe naturally. So be comfortable. There is nothing much to do. Take it easy. Allow the body to settle. But don't be drowsy. And probably you can feel some pressure at your buttocks. And you can feel some touching sensations at your legs, on your thigh muscles. Legs are bent, calf muscles are relaxed. Certain parts of the foot touching the ground. So if you are able to feel this, that indicates your mind is now dwelling in the present moment. These are very ordinary experiences, but now we are able to connect with them, accept them, recognize them, because mind is mindful. If there are various thoughts pertaining to the past, don't go after them. Just come back to this ordinary experience. Similarly, if there are any expectations, daydreaming, fantasizing, don't encourage them. Just let them go. Come back to this present moment. Now take a deep breath, hold it for a second, and then release. Now we can understand we got a very good opportunity to be with ourselves, to connect with ourselves, to have some time for our spiritual growth, to make ourselves happy. So appreciate this opportunity. Many people are not getting this opportunity, but we are lucky to have this opportunity. So have that pleasant appreciation of this opportunity. So we can wish, may I have this very good opportunity? May I be able to grow this opportunity? So you are feeling pleasant, feeling happy for having this opportunity. Similarly, you can think of another person who is now enjoying this opportunity, who is succeeding in his spiritual path. You can appreciate his or her success. May he be able to further grow in the path. And you are feeling comfortable. You're feeling really appreciating the success. And you feel happy. The mind feels pleasant. May he enjoy the happiness. May he be able to maintain that happiness. May he be able to grow that happiness. So all the beings in the front direction, may they be able to be happy. May they be able to maintain their happiness, to have that happiness for a long time. All the beings in your right hand direction, may they be happy. May they be able to maintain that happiness and let that happiness be grow. All the beings in your rear direction, may they all be happy. and you are appreciating their happiness. You are sharing their happiness. May their happiness may grow. All the beings in your left-hand direction, may they all be happy. May they all be able to maintain their happiness and to grow their happiness. And you are sharing their happiness. You are appreciating their happiness. All the beings in the upper direction, may they all be happy. May they be able to maintain their happiness. May they be able to grow their happiness. And you are appreciating their happiness. All the beings in the lower direction, may they all be happy. May they be able to maintain their happiness and to grow their happiness. And you are participating or appreciating their happiness. Your joy because of they are happy. All the beings in all the directions, every direction, all the beings in the whole universe, may they all be happy. May they be able to maintain their happiness. May they be able to grow their happiness. You are appreciating their happiness. You are also happy. You are also able to maintain your happiness. You are also able to improve your happiness. May all the beings be happy. Okay, so we have concluded our sitting session, and it's an interesting topic. So if you have any points to add, or again, if you like to share your experience, or if you have any question, please feel free to share it, or feel free to ask that. Any questions or any experience that you like to share? Anybody? Any volunteers? Don't want to talk? Or someone is there? Yeah. Yeah, actually, Kanchana. Yeah, you can proceed. Yeah, please.
අපේ හාමුදුරනේ there's a when you try to meditate and when you really come to the still close to the stillness, and there is a very thin layer when you are comfortably sitting, it's often and frequent to fall in sleep. So what is that? Is that the really thin amid the lead to that, and it's how do we avoid that, and how do we deal with that when you are trying to meditate, and I feel that it's we are going in the right direction, and all of a sudden you get to this comfort zone, and that this thin layer ahead of you that you fall in sleep sometimes.
Yeah, true. That's a very common problem that meditators are having, because typically our mind is agitated and constantly covered with various hindrances, and one way we can call it as kind of bothering the mind. So therefore mind can't go to sleep, mind can't have any rest. But on the other hand, when we are trying to meditate, so we are trying to remove all these say obstacles, we are trying to subside all the hindrances, so mind now feel comfortable. But unfortunately, mind doesn't have experience with that sort of a very sublime or that kind of a very subtle level. So as a result of that, so it go to sleep. Now it's a matter of familiarizing with this happiness, so familiarizing with this more comfortable region, more comfortable domain of the mind, so that it becomes more and more familiar state in the mind. Now when you are slowly developing that state, then it is not becoming a kind of a alienated state or kind of a new state, rather it's a common state that you are accessible to that anytime. So then you may not fall asleep. Actually, you can only, the best method is to continue the practice. Doesn't matter, you feel drowsy, you feel sleepy, but you are continuing your meditation. But with time, your mind become more and more sensitive, more and more capable of keeping away of those hindrances, able to maintain that subtle positive atmosphere in the mind, and therefore it becomes your norm. Therefore, it becomes quite familiar to the mind. So then you can maintain that without falling asleep. So that is the long-term solution we have. But on the other hand, when you are practicing, don't come to a very gloomy place. Don't select a gloomy place. Go to a kind of an open environment, if possible. And if you have a garden and if there are enough space, go to such kind of a spacious place. And again, before sitting, you can have a walking so that you are warm up. And again, if you like, you can have some hot water, drink hot water, drink a hot tea, maybe a Ceylon tea, Ceylon tea is very good. So you can have very good tea before you are sitting. So likewise, these are small techniques that you can warm up yourself. And that really helps, because this is something that we all encounter. Because when you are bringing up yourself really good, all the sensual desires are subsided, all the ill will subsided, no restlessness, no regrets, and there are no doubts, but unfortunately you fall asleep. So this is a very common problem, but with continuous practice you are able to overcome that. Yeah. So there's another person. Yeah, Mr. Geshan, yeah, you can ask your question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Well,
yes. Yeah.
Venerable Chandarathana, so it's very interesting, your topics were, and thank you for sharing that. There are two things that I wanted to ask. One is requesting, is there's a possibility for you to share the slide?
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
and I think that is very important to read. I guess while you're talking about it, I was reading and I was using my mobile phone, so it was kind of difficult to read.
Yeah,
So
I'll put it now itself. I'll put it to the chat box so you can download it, and I'll send it to Samadhi Buddhist meditation. So to Shalika, so she may share it as well.
I really appreciate. The second thing is the meditation session that we had just now, and I have been listening to your sermons as well, the recordings in Sinhala and then the English. So I've been this particular type of meditation which I have done, I think some type of a guided meditation through you, it is much easier to sort of follow. And then like today's what I felt, just the mind becomes very subtle, and then it came to a sort of a black hole, or rather there's nothingness. I cannot sort of see any. Is that normal, or should there be something that need to be sort of thinking, because you're thinking of may all the beings be well kind of things, or you're trying to sort of think in that nature?
Yeah, actually, I mean, if you are able to have nothing in the mind, so that is a positive point at this level, because that is why, I mean, you still may have some sort of feeling about the beings. So still we are in the level of the conventional reality, where we have some feeling that there are many beings available in the universe, so may they all be happy. So, but on the other hand, your mind is quite expanded. So your mind is not narrowed down or limited to a certain group of people, or only to a certain direction, or only to a certain location. Rather, it is spread all around the universe. So you are like a sun. Say the sun is emanating, say, sun rays to all the directions. So similarly, when you are practicing loving kindness, metta, so you are able to spread metta throughout the whole universe. Similarly, when you are practicing compassion, you are able to spread compassion towards the whole universe. Similarly, when you are practicing mudita, you are able to spread that appreciative joy to the whole universe. So it's actually, that is what sometimes called as the Sima Sambheda in Pali. What it means is that we are able to break all the boundaries. So now the mind become immeasurable, limitless, or appamana. So the mind has no boundary. So the boundless. So metta ceto vimutti, karuna ceto vimutti, mudita ceto vimutti, upekka ceto vimutti. So all these are the freedom of mind. Actually, our mind has that freedom, but we unfortunately hinder the mind. So that is a problem. So that's why Buddha mentioned the inherent quality of the mind is that boundless nature. But unfortunately, we are covering it up. We are hindering it, or we are narrowing it down. So we can't experience that happiness. So you can see how Buddha is taking that our inherent qualities to a very higher level, so that we are happy and experiencing blissful, and therefore it's a very pleasant experience actually.
Very good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
Yeah. Thiruvan Sannai. So we
Thiruvan
can give
Sannai.
opportunity to, yeah.
Venerable sir, my question is also similar to the answer you provided just now. Now, when you practice metta or mudita meditation in a meditative environment, well, you're spreading joy around, or you're spreading mudita around. But in practical life, like if you see the happiness of somebody else, but in the background, that joy of someone else. Say, for example, someone has got a good job, but that that job was obtained by, say, pulling strings or something like that. How do you handle that kind of a taint that comes up in your mind? I mean, how do you overrun mudita over that little bit of klesha that builds up in you?
So that's right. So typically, say at the beginning, probably you might have looking at certain faults in that person, or what are the, say, I mean, rather than appreciating that success, his success, so you probably find faults, how to look down. I mean, you are trying to put yourself in the better position than the other person, and you are, so that sort of wrong attitude, we can say, we may have. But that's why when we are cultivating mudita meditation, that is where we select a person whom we really appreciate, that we really know he is really a hard worker, he did the thing very properly, and his success is because of his good qualities, his say endurance, or maybe his hard working. So likewise, you know very well, okay, this person is a really genuine person. Because of his good qualities, he is now successful. So therefore, we start with that person. So then slowly we are able to cultivate the mind, and we really recognize the quality of mudita without any such taints. So because this person is quite righteous and quite hardworking, and now he is successful, and there are no anything that you can find any fault. So you can have very good pure mudita and to start with. So now you are developing that, and slowly you are able to expand that to other people as well. Now other people may not be perfect as that person, but still your mudita quality is so powerful, so it does not allow those taints to come up, because you are able to maintain mudita in a more stronger way, and therefore you are quite protected. So that's why at the very early stages of the practice, you take a very good person and you really have an appreciation, and you really say able to share their success, and you take or you pick that person and start to meditate with that, and then slowly you can expand. So therefore, I mean, if we are able to look at the positive side, then we can actually maintain the quality, maintain mudita, or even loving kindness. But on the other hand, if we simply allow the mind to go in the old pattern, then it may pick all the bad qualities or what are the faults or any flaws in that person, and then we go to a wrong direction. Yeah.
Yeah, very much, sir. Yeah, thank you. In the same, like now, when you have when I was just practicing whilst you were guiding us, well, a mosquito bit me. So generally in Metta Bhavana, what we would do is, not take any heed. But at the same time, now in Mudita, you could say, okay, the mosquito was having a nice feed on me, so even though it was hurting me. So then you could practice the Mudita on the mosquito. Well,
right.
Is it correct?
Probably he can fly, no, you can't fly.
No, I mean, you can just mix up the two, isn't it? I don't know. At that time, because like on my tree, you wouldn't do anything. I mean, you just wait without doing anything to the mosquito. But at the same time, in Mudita, you could also think like, okay, the mosquito was having a good feed on my account. So we would be happy at that time. Anyone of us, when we have our meals, are happy.
Yeah. I mean, yes. He is having a good breakfast today. So you can be happy that at least because you are able to donate something, and he is also now happy. So I mean, you are just simply donating a very small amount of blood, but this fellow is surviving for many days even. So you can be happy. So you got some person to share and say, actually we can look at it in that way. I mean, even though we feel it as a joy, as a job, actually we can think it that way. Now say for example, someone is really suffering and you really want to donate your blood. Now there are, say, blood donations and things organized. So at that time, it's a human being that is being sharing what you are donating. But rather than limiting that, we can, share to someone else as well. So we can look at the positive ways that how we can, rather than feeling angry, how to overcome the anger. And on the other hand, rather than we feeling jealousy, how to overcome jealousy, because these negative feelings really contract the mind, narrow the mind, and we lose our happiness. But on the other hand, the Brahma Viharas are really expanding the mind and allow to grow the mind, and we feel more comfortable, we feel more kind of sublime and more happy. Yeah.
Yes, Professor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Theruvan Sannai.
Theruvan
And
Sannai.
Dhananjaya Dharmaratha, you can, yes.
Theruvan Sannai, Bante, and lots of merit to the Samadhi Buddhist Foundation for organizing this. I listened to your answers. My question is, Bante, now when you say Mudita, it's being happy for other person's happiness or success. And also there's a question, how can we differentiate the empathy with Mudita? Empathy is where you looking from the other person's point of view. Is it better to have empathy when we practice Mudita?
Yeah, empathy is more towards the compassion as far as I can understand, because when someone is, say, going through some difficult situation, we feel sort of empathetic and we feel that he's kind of suffering, and therefore we feel that empathetic feeling. So it is more connected, more closer with kindness, compassion, because the compassion, the quality is very much like someone else is in trouble and we want to help him, and we feel that the other person may be rid of that suffering. So the other person is in a trouble. But on the other hand, in the Mudita, now more than myself, the other person may be happy, or more than myself, the other person is successful. On such situation, typically what we have is the jealousy. So how to avoid that jealousy and rather have appreciative joy of the success of the other person. Actually, these three qualities, Metta, Mudita, Karuna, have many good benefits, but at the same time, they have differences. As you all can see, in the Metta, we are having kind of loving friendliness, loving kindness. So it is not necessary the other person be either in trouble or in a sort of more happy state or something like that, but rather in general, we are quite friendly and we like to have the welfare of the others. So that is the Metta. But in the compassion, the other person is now in a trouble. So we want them to be successful. We want them to be again recover, come back to the normalcy. And in the Mudita, the other person is really doing well. He's quite successful. So, and now we actually sharing that happiness. We are now wishing them further happiness. So that sort of a thing. And when it comes to Upekha, so we are able to maintain some sort of a unshakability in ourselves, even though even the others are going through some, kind of ups and downs. Still, we are not being shaken, or we are not sort of disturbed, because we know, there are certain other conditions apply, certain other, reasons are there. One reason is the karma, so they are now reaping their, say, bad karma, so we can't do anything. And on the other hand, some person is doing well, maybe that is also due to karma. So likewise, there is a kind of an equanimity being developed at the Upekha. So likewise, these four qualities are quite different. At the same time, have very good expansion in the mind, and it's uplifting. Yes. Okay, I think.
Bante, I have a question. Out of I feel like out of three, Mudita is the one maybe like a typical, like a human being can, the quality that being developed, right?
Yeah, certainly. Actually, all three are really interesting qualities and very, very beautiful qualities. And the interesting point Buddha highlights is, so these are inherent to all human beings, but you can see how much we are covering them up. So we are having all these qualities inherent to the mind. How successfully we are covering them.
Yes,
So it's a matter of removing the outer sheath. Then the inner happiness is available, inner compassion is available. So now we have to deliberately develop these qualities to say counteract with the outer sheath, the jealousy and all these outer appearance. So once we are able to remove that, penetrate that, so what is inherently available, what is inbuilt to the mind is very beautiful. So that is a very good finding that Buddha is in a way teaching us. So that is why it is not that we are trying to, I mean, at the beginning it appear like sort of artificial. So I mean, someone may even question how, I mean, how are you able to have happiness on someone else? I feel jealousy. So it's I'm a bit kind of, isn't it like pretending? Someone can even ask like that, but that is only at the beginning. So if we are able to slowly develop that and to remove jealousy, remove sort of aversion and say that sort of negative feelings, then slowly you may connect with the real normal attitude available in the mind, on the ground level of the mind, that is full of loving kindness, maybe say compassion and all these things. And on the other hand, we have to talk about the say wisdom as well. So I mean, any of these qualities, if we are not connecting with the wisdom, then again we are coming to another extreme. Now, you know, if you consider the Buddha's character, so Buddha's character is emphasized that he has the balance of panya and karuna. Compassion and wisdom is well balanced. But sometimes what happens to us is that we sometimes go only with the say wisdom that is more into the not real, the proper wisdom, maybe to the intellectual side, and completely we lose the compassion. But on the other hand, certain other group of people, they are completely talking to the compassion, and they don't have any wisdom. So therefore, this situation is not balanced. So therefore, when we are developing these sublime qualities, at the same time, it is good to have some amount of vipassana practice, some amount of wisdom, and therefore you are able to maybe to know the limit and to understand your own limitation. Now, say for example, if you are practicing compassion, and it is true that you are being compassionate, you are being sort of empathetic, and again you are trying to help genuinely, but there may be situation that you can't do it. So at that time you don't need to be upset, you don't need to be sort of worried, because you know your limits, that in order to have that balance you need fair amount of wisdom to cover up that situation. So likewise, there are other sides also we can discuss when we are talking Brahma Viharas. So I mean, that Metta Sahagata Sutta is a very interesting topic, where Buddha explained that how to develop enlightenment factors while keeping Brahma Viharas in the background. So you have both qualities. So the very happy, pleasant atmosphere is also available in the mind. At the same time, you are further developing the enlightenment factors, the wisdom part, so that mind become more and more equipped with wisdom. Yeah, very interesting parts actually, Buddha, how he is bringing up these human qualities to its fulfillment. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have come to the end of the program now, almost 1.5 hours. Maybe I like to ask Shalika to make any announcements if there are any.
So our next session will be on November 19th. It's a Friday at 8:30 p.m. because since it's like we have Thanksgiving falling on the following week, the last weekend, so we are planning to have it on 19th at 8:30, and at the same time, the daylight standard time will be ending, and it will be on 20th Sri Lankan time 7 a.m. But that time is right? 7 a.m. So I will be, once I get the presentation from Bante, I will share with everyone. If you don't receive emails, just keep, sometimes, this may be going to your junk. So just keep an eye. I will send the presentation. And I would like to thank everyone for your participation. We really appreciate that and, your active participation. So thank you so much, Bante. So much merits to you. It was a really great topic and basic, knowing, details much too into depth of the Mudita. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thero and Sarnai, see you all next month.